When I woke up this morning, the CryptoPunk floor was $400,000. The Bored Ape Yacht Club was $150,000.
Stanley, wait a minute. That was a long time ago. Now the floor is $450,000 for punks and Bored Apes at $180,000. This is an emergency broadcast. We're calling all apes, all punks. Come and hear what the hell is going on in this NFT market. We're going to explain it all and unpack it for you, as well as tell you what you should be doing on the craziest day in the NFT market.
Welcome to Goats in the Metaverse, baby. We got a lot to talk about today.
We do.
And by the way, when we said now it's worth 450,000, 180,000, we're not talking about now, like, it's almost midnight. What, 6 hours later? Is that what it is?
Yep.
6 hours later, an extra $50,000. Most people don't make $50,000 a year.
And that's an extra $50,000 over an extra $100,000 from the night before. So what we're seeing is a parabolic rise in the blue chip NFTs, CryptoPunks mainly, and followed up by Bored Apes. I haven't seen anything like this in the NFT market. I haven't seen anything like this in the crypto market.
I haven't seen anything like this in any market, any forces of life. I don't think we're playing real life. But before we get into it, let's go check out the Goat Vault, because that is real life. And we are up, baby. We are up. So if you're watching the show, if you're a subscriber, you should be doing a little dance. $35,000. $35,000. Last week we were like 15,000, and we're like, oh yeah, this is going. We're going place, baby. $35,000.
$35,000 in the Goat Vault.
Fire. Yossi, tell everybody what the Goat Vault is one more time.
The Goat Vault is your only chance to win some NFTs by doing something very simple, hitting the subscribe button. And what we'll be doing is when we get to 5,000 subscribers, we'll be opening up the vault, and all the NFTs that we have locked away there will become redeemable to any of our lucky random subscribers. And by then, we think it's going to be north of $100,000, maybe even north of $1 million with the NFTs that we've got in there. Should we tell them what we managed to put into the vault this week, Stanley?
Oh, we absolutely should. Atom Bomb Squad, which you actually don't see a pretty picture of because it's an emergency broadcast and we had to rush to get it out the door. Minted yesterday for 0.1 ETH. Today, it is already worth 0.25 ETH. That is in the Goat Vault. There's no reveal yet. It is produced by the Hundreds, which is a very cool streetwear brand. And the cool thing about this NFT is every actual merchandise they launch under this new NFT, the royalties go to us, the NFT owners, and to you, the Goat owners. So I'm excited about this. I think this has a little bit of legs, and I think it's a smart concept. And I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm looking at this Goat Vault right now, and it's like, oh, look at those pretty pictures. We're talking about dollars. American dollars. We're talking about money. We're talking about Ethereum. This is real good stuff.
And we got our little cool cat there. We see the number there is also probably wrong. That cool cats have shot up to 5 ETH based on some news from Time, and everyone now starting to collect it because of the mispricing, if you want to call it that, because of what they're seeing happening within punks and apes. So this is what happens with NFTs. You don't know what the NFT is worth today, what it could be worth tomorrow. The market moves so quickly, but we're going to carry on looking after you, buying into all these NFT drops, bringing it in the vault. So hit the subscribe button. The only way we're going to get to 5,000 subscribers is if you like our show, tweet it, retweet it, post it on Facebook, tell your friends, tell your parents,
mama,
tell everyone to come onto the show, hit subscribe, and then you stand a chance to win that Goat Vault.
I love it. And, I have been asked the question in the last 7 days. How do I get into NFTs? Where do I start? What do I buy? wait, should I put some more money? Should I change my money to Ethereum tomorrow or wait a week from now? You snooze, you lose in this market, my friend. Tomorrow, that price could be doubled. Let's go talk about market movers. What happened in the NFT world? What was the spark? This is in the last 7 days.
Last 7 days, we're seeing green percentages almost across the board and some crazy numbers. 2,000.
No, this is not in the last 7 days, Yossi. This is in the last 24 hours, by the way.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Wow.
No.
Last 24 hours.
No, I'm not sure. No, last 7 days. Sorry. I was thinking about something else. I apologize. Live show.
This is what happens when we go emergency, and off the cuff. So this is live. This is an emergency. But 7 days, volumes, we're seeing huge stuff happening. Curio cards up 2,488%. On one force up 1,235%. Maybe that's something you would expect from new projects that are getting their market. They're starting to grow into the hype. They're getting minted at low prices. But then you see something like CryptoPunks, the thing that's been there, the OG, already quite an expensive asset to acquire, jumping 740% in 7 days. That's 7x the price in 7 days.
Let's dissect this. Let's dissect exactly what happened. So the floor has been creeping up for quite a while. And then in the middle of the night, about a week ago, maybe even less than a week ago, Visa, yes, Visa, not like MasterCard, Visa, the credit card company, announced that they bought their first NFT, which happens to be a CryptoPunk, because they believe in the NFT world. And what better way to jump in than buy a CryptoPunk? Well, my friend, all of a sudden, a lot of people woke up with a lot of dollars in their wallet, because literally, I think the market jumped by 15, 20 ETH overnight. Is that correct, Yossi?
Yeah, over the overnight, 15 to 20 ETH. And I think what we're seeing is, someone like Visa entering into the NFT market. Many institutional companies still haven't bought Bitcoin, never mind an NFT. And here we have a company like Visa entering the stage saying, we've arrived, we've acquired our first asset. And if you think about it, brilliant move from Visa. The amount of publicity that they received out of acquiring this punk, I think they paid something like
150. 150, yeah. 150,000 they paid about.
$150,000. They got much more than 150,000 back in promotion and positive press coming their way. So smart move from Visa. And will we start seeing now other blue chip companies saying, well, first we thought we had to get Bitcoin onto our balance sheet and we're just trying to wrap our head around that. Now, do we need to get these things called NFTs? And what are we doing about them? Should we be entering the game? How does this happen? What is it? And which assets should we be acquiring? So good move by Visa. Let's see what happens. But certainly drove up a frenzy on pricing for the CryptoPunks.
I believe, even for the marketing ploy, it's the best ROI they have ever received on dollars spent. Right? They put in $150,000. Today, it's worth $450,000. And it really sparked. It really gave legitimacy in the press to the NFT space, where people are like, wait a minute, what is this? Right? Or maybe people that were on the fence about buying one say, you know what, Visa buying one does legitimize both NFTs and especially CryptoPunks. We saw earlier this week Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod buying one. And what I loved is not only did he buy one, he said, I'm buying it for the corporation, right? So here's another example of Alex Rodriguez is a very, very popular and very smart investor, entrepreneur. And he's saying, my organization, A-Rob Corp, is buying into this, and we believe in CryptoPunks.
Let me be the skeptic for a second. Visa's got billions of dollars, a massive balance sheet. Isn't this just maybe a publicity stunt? If CryptoPunks go to zero, it's no skin off their back. Are we sending the wrong message? Are we thinking about it the wrong way? $150,000 now, $450,000, a lot of money to individuals. Other than what's Visa's motive behind this? What are we thinking are the reasons that companies are starting to add it? Are they true believers, or they really just want to get the mileage out of the publicity that they're getting?
That's a great question. I mean, look, there has to be somebody that's in that space, that's on that team that's sitting there and trying and pushing this initiative, right? Obviously, we're seeing like DraftKings, for example. We saw Matt Kalish buy an ape for $1.2 million earlier this week, and he obviously believes it. And the president of DraftKings bought an ape this minutes later for $1 million. He believes in it. So these are guys, and you could obviously comparing DraftKings to Visa, completely two different types of companies. But still, like, these are guys who run, companies with multi-billion-dollar evaluations, and they're saying, hey, we believe in this and we're buying into this and we're okay with putting our name behind this. Like we saw, the CEO of Time doing a deal with Cool Cats, and if I'm not mistaken, his profile pic is a Cool Cat on Twitter. Is that correct?
I think so.
I think so. All right. But yeah, look, here's the crazy part. Last night, a CryptoPunk was $300,000. This morning, a CryptoPunk was $400,000. I texted a friend this morning who owns a CryptoPunk and said, congratulations, your CryptoPunk is worth $400,000. He said, no, my friend, you're incorrect. It is worth $300,000. I said, no. You haven't checked it yet. You woke up and made an extra $100,000. And if you really dissect that, that is insane. Somebody woke up and they made an extra $100,000. And then we're not talking about I have to go send this away to get it graded, or I need to, go list it with a real estate broker. I'm talking about you put this thing on the market. It is going to sell.
It will sell. Yeah.
It will sell. And to that point, right now it's $450,000. So if you waited those extra 6 hours, you made an extra $50,000. Absolutely bananas. I don't know what to believe anymore. I believe people.
Well, I think we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. I just don't think we knew it was coming so fast.
No, absolutely. And you know what I think actually drove the CryptoPunk to go up, which I personally, as a basketball fan, am super excited about it. Steph Curry, who's probably top 3 current basketball players alive right now, probably top 10 basketball players ever, bought an ape last night. And he was in the Discord group. He changed his Twitter profile. He's saying, hey, I aped in. He's in the Discord group sending a selfie. Yes, this is really me. My account was not hacked. This obviously, they went from 40, the floor went from 40 to, I believe, about 50, right? Am I right? Is my math right?
Yep.
They went about 50, and right now they're about 60, right? 60 Ethereum. So 10 Ethereum is about $33,000, a little bit more, right? But here's the crazy part to me. I think the Punk floor rose because of the Bored Ape floor rising. Because as soon as the Bored Ape floor rises significantly, people are looking at punks as cheap. They're saying, hey, punks are still the OG. We can't let Bored Apes catch up. And that continues. They're playing this game, and that continues to rise.
So
and I'm going to make
apes are driving punks, not punks are driving apes.
Yes.
Interesting.
And here's what I'm going to make a prediction live on this show.
Dude,
I have no inside information. I don't know anything. My prediction is LeBron James is going to buy a punk in the next 48 to 72 hours.
Okay.
And change his Twitter profile to a punk. Once again, I don't have any insight. This is my opinion. I hope I don't get sued for this. I don't know. And I'm telling you, it's not going to be an ape. It's going to be a punk. And the reason he's going to buy a punk is he's going to say, hey, Steph Curry is new school and he believes in apes. I'm the OG. I'm old school. I'm going to go with the punk. I'm going to bet on the punk. Maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm right,
let's see what happens. I think let's tweet at him and see if in 72 hours we have a LeBron Punk purchase. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. And why else do you think these the apes are on the rise? Tell our audience why else.
apes on the rise for a couple of reasons. Sotheby's has got an auction on the 2nd of September. They're going to be showcasing a collection of apes. We don't know which ones exactly yet, or actually we do. They're all suit-based apes. So that's coming up, and we've seen floor prices rise as we go towards these auctions in anticipation of what they're going to sell for. Sotheby's have had a couple of successful auctions before with some big ticket prices. So we're expecting to see that continue as we go on to the 2nd of September with their auction. And we're also waiting in anticipation today, 4 p.m. Eastern time, 12 minutes away. What Bored Apes have announced is that they're launching a new drop called the Mutant Ape Yacht Club. And they're going to be taking a snapshot of all the ape holders at 4 p.m. Eastern time. At 5 p.m., they're going to be airdropping mutant serums, random distribution generated. I don't know what a mutant serum is, but I'm excited to find out. Everyone wants to already get it. And then at 6 p.m. Eastern time, you will be getting your mutant ape. Now, they did this with the Bored Ape Kennel Club, where they minted and gave all the Bored Ape holders a little dog as a pet. And we've seen those little dogs as a pet go all the way up to 5 ETH in price. So
15 grand. 15 grand. They just gave you 15 grand.
A $15,000 gift to anyone who holds an ape. So that's why there's so much anticipation and excitement about the Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and why people are buying up as many apes as they can, because they know they're getting free money. Free money is being sent to them. Anyone that they hold, they're pricing that in, and they're saying, well, let me just collect these, and I'm already getting anywhere between 2 to potentially 5, even more ETH coming back at me just by holding this, and then I can sell it afterwards. So that's part of the reason we're seeing this mutant rise.
Here's the most insane stat that I picked up on this morning. Forbes came out and said in July, Las Vegas is back. They broke the gambling revenue record, and it almost did $800 million. So they said every single casino on the strip did almost $800 million in sales and revenue. If you look at the comparison, and if you just look at CryptoPunks and Bored Apes combined, that number is almost $900 million. So
Axie Infinity on its own.
Or Axie Infinity on its own.
On its own. 845
in the last 30 days. In the last 30 days, if you look at it, Axie Infinity on its own beat Vegas, and CryptoPunks and Bored Apes beat Vegas. And, you know, if you do talk to somebody that doesn't believe in the space, doesn't understand the space, like, I love Vegas. I go to Vegas all the time. Vegas literally, like, they will do anything to make you gamble, right? They're going to send you a limo. They'll put you up in a nice room. They'll send a plane for you, whatever. And it's all like to get this massive amount of money in. And, you know, CryptoPunks and Bored Apes and then Axie Infinity are like, hold my beer. Well, we're just going to destroy that record.
And the difference here is that in Vegas, the house always wins. And in the metaverse with NFTs, you as the creator, as the collector, seems like we're winning.
But who knows? Is winter coming? Right? That is the question, and we'll dive into that a little bit. But one thing I also noticed, which I'm excited about, is that now that people are priced out of these big projects, other projects are on the rise. Cool Cats, which is in our vault. We saw it touch 6 Ethereum this morning. Yesterday, you could have bought a Cool Cat for a whopping 2.5 Ethereum, which is still a lot of money, about $7,500, $7,800. Today, you could have sold that Cool Cat, if you caught her at the right time, for about $18,000 in change.
Wow.
Once again, if you are in tune with the market and you are paying attention and you're not sleeping, because from what I've seen, the successful traders and metapreneurs are not sleeping. Sleeping is for the weak. You literally are making money. You are day trading NFTs. And, you know, from 2.5 ETH to about 6 ETH or even 5 ETH, that's 100%. That's 100+% returns. And I know both you and I love the Cool Cats project. We think long term it's going to be a winner. And it's finally getting a little recognition, just because people can't afford some of the larger projects, or they understand that they're starting to believe in some of these other projects, or they're just making a bet on what the future is going to be like. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think if you think of a comparable, Hello Kitty as a brand is a multi-billion-dollar brand, and Cool Cats is a potential competitor in this NFT metaverse world. It's catered for a younger audience. Its artwork is accessible. It's kind of gender neutral, and is able to own that space. You've got Punks, which is more of a, when people look at that artwork, they're thinking, this looks weird. Not everyone gets it on first impression. It's this kind of pixelated artwork that is more true to a crypto native and technology audience. And you got the Bored Apes, which is very cool and designed to be this membership club. And then someone's looking at an ape and it's bored and it's like, what is that? That's weird. And then you got Cool Cats, and Cool Cats are friendly. Everyone likes cats. Cats breaks the internet, and it's a possible meme that can continue to go. And with the sync up with time, with the idea that this could become a multi-billion-dollar brand, people want to own the cat. There's also just people that are flipping NFTs and riding the wave as the market goes up, acquiring, turning, and just accumulating ETH. And don't believe in any of the underlying NFTs. They're just trying to see how much ETH can they accumulate. So you've also got your flippers and your speculators in the market as well. So you've got to understand where you are and what you're trying to do here, and where you're positioning yourself here. I'm a long-term holder. I'm not a daily day trader. It probably costs me a lot of money to not be in and out every single day. But I look for projects that I have conviction in. And as we've seen with Punks, the upside is huge. If you find the right projects and you hold on to them, you could potentially be making even more than flipping your projects every day. I know someone, I won't mention any names, who had 2 Punks and flipped them and now regrets the day he ever did that.
I don't know that person either. That may or may not be true. It might be true. I don't know. I can't say. I can't deny. I don't know. You're 100% right. I mean, look, and that's, I think, the beauty of it. You could look at it in a lot of different perspectives. And look, I think that the $1 million question is, when do you sell, right? When do you sell your Punk, your Ape, your Cool Cat, your project that you just bought into, 3 days ago? When do you sell? And, the other question is, well, what are your goals? What are you looking to accomplish? And the question I like to ask, which is, I think, the most important question, well, what do you do with that money? Where do you put that money into? Let's say you do sell a crypto Punk, or let's say you sell an NFT and it does make you a large sum of money. Now, there's a lot of different options. One, you could say, okay, I made a lot of money. I have Ethereum. Now I could hold that Ethereum and patiently wait to maybe find a new project, or just hold Ethereum because you believe in Ethereum long term. You might take that money and say, look, guys, I just made, $500,000, $1 million, some crazy ludicrous number, which I was not making before. This has changed my life. I'm going to go cash it out, buy a house all cash, and say,
Thank you for playing.
Thank you for playing. This cat, this $1 million house, or $500,000 house, or $300,000 house cost me $1,500, right? Yep. Or $5,000 or $10,000 or $30,000 or $100,000. Or you could say, look, I'm going to look at art in the NFT space. I'm going to go look at art blocks. I'm going to go look at Xcopy. I'm going to go look at projects that I believe are undervalued and have a long-term possibility that maybe is even greater than the current investment. So I'll put that question on you. We talk offline. I know you struggle with this as well. I think everybody does. When do you sell? When is the right time to sell? Is it at 2x? Is it a 10x? Is it 100x? Is it at that? You could get stuck holding the bag, or you could sell too early and you just missed out on the future millions.
Yeah. So the way I like to think about it is to take a macro outlook and say, well, where are we? where are we in the timeline of NFTs? And we're still extremely early in that timeline. We're seeing that active traders on OpenSea are something in the region of just under 200,000, or maybe they just crossed 200,000. That's 200,000 people in the world who are trading on OpenSea and have an active wallet. The total wallet distribution across all of these projects, across Zrun, Axie, Cool Cats, Bored Apes, Punks, etc. I don't think it's more than 1.5 million wallet addresses. That's 1.5 million people who are buying, trading, and somehow involved in the NFT world. So on a macro perspective, we think there is 10, 100, 1,000 times still more people who are going to start holding and buying NFTs. So long term, if you're buying into blue chip projects that the NFT market continues to go the way it is, and it's seen as something that the narrative changes and continues to be valued by people around the world as more and more people enter, as we saw with Bitcoin, more and more people starting to believe in this narrative of cryptocurrencies, more people buying into Bitcoin than Ethereum, etc., and Bitcoin now sitting at $48,000, then the same should happen in the NFT market. So the question is then, well, which assets am I going to become a holder of and buy into long term? And which one am I thinking I'm going to hold on to? I'm never going to sell it. This is something that I know in 10 years' time, it's going to be worth 10 times this price. That's the one strategy. And there's new projects that are coming on every single day that look like they have the potential to be able to do that over time. Bored Apes being the next one after Punks that we're seeing has the potential, but it's only 4 months old. So what's going to happen? Anything can happen from a project that's only 4 months old, and where it can go from here. But if you're putting money that you're willing to lose, maybe you can afford to hold it, because the upside is potentially 10 to 100x, whereas the downside is the money that you've invested in putting in it. So that's 100%. One strategy.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
The other strategy is to say, well, I want to accumulate here. I want to build wealth. I want to be, I don't know what's going to happen to the NFT market. It may 10x, it may 100x, it may 1,000x, but it may also go to zero. We may decide that this was the most stupid thing anyone has ever done. This was a nice fad. I can copy this JPEG. I can do whatever over here. I don't have that view. I think the technology is going to transform the world, and that long-term outlook is going to happen. But you might be saying, well, the market is hot. It's rising. I can almost touch anything and make money. Why don't I do that and look for projects that are selling out, that have a community, that have liquidity, go in and buy those. And then maybe I'll buy 5 NFTs and I'll sell 4 and I'll hold 1. Let me go buy the next project, go buy 5 NFTs, sell 4 and hold 1, and accumulate that way. And that's a different strategy. And now it takes different types of people to execute on both strategies. I am not a buyer and flipper. I'm very good at buying NFTs, very bad at selling them. So I like let me just go into the things that I think will have massive network effects, will accumulate over time, and buy those. I know, Stanley, your approach is slightly different. So tell us more on how you think about approaching it when you're buying in, accumulating, holding onto some, and then flipping. What do you think about? What do you look at? How do you execute on that strategy?
I like to diversify. I think there's an opportunity to both hold long term and also sell, right? Sell at a certain point. It comes to a point where you look at that number and you say, I think it's time to sell. That number might be $1,000, $5,000, $100,000, $1 million. And also, what did it cost me to get into this investment? How long have I held it? And what am I doing with this money? That to me is the most important question. Do I want to diversify in the NFT space? Do I want to go invest it into cars? Do I need to go, take this money to go feed my family? I am also looking at the space right now as, are we ever going to have an opportunity to do what we can do right now? Is there ever going to be an opportunity where, like the market could, I don't want to say crash, but correct itself? And what does that correction look like? Is a CryptoPunk going to be worth $100,000? Or are we so early that a CryptoPunk is going to be $4.5 million and everyone who owned it or sold it at $450, it could be laughed at? Nobody knows the answer to that. That's why we're kind of playing the game. I am a lot more riskier than most, but I also like to diversify. I don't want to hold one thing, which might not be smart, right? But I don't want to necessarily just hold one thing. I don't want to necessarily have all my cookies in CryptoPunks or all my cookies in Bored Apes. I do want to see other projects. I do like to diversify. I want to see where else I can make money. I do like to flip. Sometimes I flip too early. But to me, we're sitting in this time where I don't know if we're gonna have this opportunity again. But once again, I'm not afraid to lose it all. I'm not afraid to go to zero. A lot of people are. So if my mentality is I made an investment of X amount of dollars and I could 100x my money. Take
it.
I'm willing to keep pushing that pedal, right? I'm willing to keep going. But at the same time, I do, at certain points, take money off the table. I do look at it that you should do that because we don't know when the right time to sell is. Nobody does, right? You could get lucky and sell at the right time, but you could also get unlucky and get screwed. But I think a more important question is what to buy. I have been on text, phone calls, IG messages. And by the way, shout out to the sports card community. The sports card community is diving into NFTs. I'm getting regular messages on Instagram saying, hey, I want to jump in. Where do I start? I just bought my first NFT. And to me, that's a good sign. Like, I think more and more sports car guys are going to come in, and their whole thing is like they're grinders, right? They're willing to like flip and make 10 cents on the dollar and keep it moving. So to me, I think it's going to continue to the day trading, and the market is going to continue to evolve. So here's my question to you, Yossi, because I have been asked this question at least 50 to 60 times in the last 48 hours. What do I buy? Where do I start? What do I look at? And I mean, we obviously covered Discord groups, but right now it's to a point of there's way too many drops. There's way too many things happening. What do you buy? Somebody starting out. What's the advice?
Somebody starting out. First question is, what do you like? What is the stuff that appeals to you? That effectively, if it does go to zero, you're still happy that you hold on to this thing and it actually speaks to you in one way or another. But if you're buying it purely for a financial investment and kind of just looking at where can you enter the market, there's a couple approaches. I personally am a fan of buying fractional punks. So if you can't afford to pay $450,000 for a punk, you can buy a fraction. And that fraction, you can put $50 into owning a fraction of a punk. And had you done that when 6 months ago, you would be riding that wave of the growth of the punk market without having to have had $50,000, $100,000, now $450,000. So I think fractional ownership is a hugely misunderstood and misplayed element of the NFT market. It's what Bitcoin has allowed people to do. You can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin, and now we're starting to see that in the NFT space. So I would first think of, well, if I'm doing this for the long term, I don't have the time to try and figure out every new project, which one should I be getting into? I would go and buy a fraction of a punk. There is already, you can go to fractional.art and you can buy or niftex.com, and you can buy a fraction of a zombie or an ape punk. Those are the most rare punks, and you're able to buy a fraction of them. Or you could go with the approach of buying a fraction of the floor punks. Not the most rare, but we've seen the floor price rise, and you can buy a fraction of those. So that would be step one. That would be my safe bet. That would be the way I would approach it as a newcomer into the space, to have some skin in the game and exposure to punks, which is what you want to have. And you could do the same with apes. And now you've got exposure to two of the kind of blue chip projects. And you can do that with art blocks, with things called ringers, which we'll spend an episode on and go into more detail into generative art. But I would start looking at the fractional element. Then if you want to say, well, I also want to now 100x my money, where can I go and find something that is new, that is unknown? Well, that's a whole different story. That's looking into Discord groups. That's being on Twitter. That is looking at on-chain data. That is speaking to people like our friend Eric, who's on the ground and looking at every new project that's coming on. And what you're doing there is trying to find something that you think looks good. How does it look good? The art is pretty good. It appeals to you. You've seen that the team is legit. There's a community already following it. There's additional membership rights, or there's a whole bunch of stuff being embedded into this NFT. And that could be a project that would be successful. And what you're doing is literally buying a lottery ticket. You are saying that you think this looks good and that this is going to be big, and you're buying a lottery ticket and seeing if that is what transpires. It's more of a risky play. It's more of a risky bet. The upside is much bigger if it does go right and you get a lottery ticket and you get one of the rare cool cats and cool cats takes off. Well, your $50 investment or your $100 investment may be now worth $20,000, $50,000, $100,000. And you've got to decide what's your appetite. Do you want to be in it, spending your time every day figuring out what art works for you, what's the new drops, being part of the community, building up that understanding? Then you can go that route. If it's something like, well, you just want some exposure to this, you just want to actually get a sense of it, go and buy a fractional piece of an ape or a punk and just watch it from the sides and see what happens in this market.
I love that advice. I'm just going to send everybody to text me and calls me a link to that website.
Done.
Well, I think, and we have a comment from somebody. It's a good point. My background, sports cards, don't know much on NFT. My first NFT was a fraction share of a 1986 Fleer Jordan PSA 10. Helped me bridge the gap on how everything works. Listen, I think that's genius, right? Make your first investment and feel out the market. I have also seen people are like, I bought this and I bought that because this person told me, right? And to me, like, right now the market is so hot, you're probably gonna make money. But there's no such thing as free lunch, right? You're gonna have to invest, whether it's time, money, energy, something to really try to figure it out. And by the way, shout out to Goat Chasers. That was Goat Chasers, who we talk a lot on IG. He's a card collector with that point, and that was a very, very valid point. And look, I do buy what you like has always been my like that what I follow, right? And usually when you do make bad investments, it's on stuff when you're listening to other people and you're not really quite sure what you're buying. And, you know, I always like to say, ask smart questions, right? Smart questions could really help you navigate uncharted territories, whether it's in anything, entrepreneurship or investments. How do you really try to figure it out? But I love that everybody wants to get in. And you know what? Here's the thing. I think the market is going to continue to be hot if people do educate themselves and do make the right investments, as opposed to just saying, well, I'm just going to go buy the cheapest item because I don't want to overpay, right? And then they're going to lose their money and then they're going to be out of the game. This market moves really, really quick. And you have to be prepared to move quickly, make the investment, right? If you're not, you're going to lose out.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. Yeah. Doesn't everybody in the world wish they bought a punk this morning? Like, forget about like a week ago, 2 weeks ago in February. This morning, right? If you bought a punk this morning for $400,000, which most people don't have $400,000, but let's say if you did, and you bought it for $400 and you flipped it 6 hours later for $50,000, that's a large sum of money to anybody. I don't care. I don't care how rich you are. That's a crazy return on your money.
It's a crazy return on your money. And I think what we're seeing is, and what I like to say is, where do I invest? When I ask myself the question, where do I invest? And what are the areas where I think are going to explode? Well, I look at places where there's a lot of friction. And despite that friction, you're still seeing tremendous growth. Now, the NFT market has tremendous friction. It's not easy to set up a MetaMask wallet to understand how this works and what is Ethereum and where do I buy it from and what's gas and why am I paying it and how do I go and keep this secure and what am I doing here? All those barriers need to be overcome in order for you to get into the game. And the technology is improving and it's getting easier, but that's the learning curve that people have to go into. And there's all that friction that needs to happen. And the experience could be a lot better. And yet, we just saw that in the past month, one project exceeded the revenue of Las Vegas. Now, if you think about that, there's all this friction that is stopping people from getting into the market, and yet this thing is still exploding and going parabolic. That's where I think you're seeing that there is tremendous opportunity, that there is something there. It may look like, well, that's just crazy. It's a scam. People write it off very quickly. But I say rather take notice. Take notice that where there's friction and there is still huge growth, that something really interesting is happening. The same thing happened with crypto. When crypto first came out and you had to buy your Bitcoin and you had to try and figure out how do you keep it safe, and exchange got hacked, etc. And look at the crypto market today. Same thing happened with the internet. The first time people tried to get onto the internet, you had to type everything that you're going, the site that you're going, there was no graphical interface. All of that happened, but growth was explosive. You're seeing explosive exponential growth over here. What does that mean? Well, time in the market is probably more important than timing the market. If you just get into the market, buy things that you think are valuable, that you like, that are some behind some strong community and already getting some upward momentum, you're probably going to be all right. Things are probably going to go your way just because of the market forces that are happening. So that's how I like to think about it, not try and overthink it on what it is that I'm doing, because then you'll stand on the sideline and before you know it, 3 years goes by and you're like, well, I should have bought it then, should have bought it then, should have bought it then, and you never enter into the game.
And here's, to me, the one thing that, like, I don't think anybody even thinks about. What happens if ETH goes up? And by goes up, I mean, in the early days, we talked about this and we still talk about it. ETH could eventually compete with Bitcoin from a price perspective. Comparison right now, ETH is really cheap if you compare it to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's almost 50K. ETH is about $3,300. If ETH goes up to 10K, that's not like that far-fetched, is it?
No, not at all.
Not at all, right? So that means that whatever you're holding just tripled in value. Every single Ethereum just tripled. So let's say you have $100,000 US dollars of, NFTs, and ETH doubles. Now you have 200,000. ETH triples. Now you have 300,000. And I think that's very possible just from the technology itself. When you do talk to really smart people who understand the technology, they're very clear and say, you can't mess with blockchain, right? The technology is extraordinary. And it's going to completely put a lot of people out of business, but also make a lot of people rich, because artists are going to release their music as NFTs. And, every time you buy a watch, there's going to be some sort of number that comes. There's going to be an NFT that comes with the watch, so we know who actually bought it and what the NFT is. Oh my God.
We've got some Japanese viewers.
We got Japanese. I love it. I don't know what that means, but every time welcome. Every time we get like, do you want to buy a bot service or some other thing? I'm like, we're finally close to making it. We have hackers that are trying to sell stuff on our lives. I love it. Any last words? Anything else that we should talk about that we haven't talked about in this crazy
last words
broadcast?
The last words are, I'm excited to see what happens tonight at 6 p.m. to get my mutant reveal and everything that's happening there. I will continue to watch in amazement as the world wakes up to CryptoPunks and to Bored Apes and to NFTs, and more people enter the game. A word of caution is we're seeing a lot of supply coming on, a lot of new drops, a lot of avatar projects. And at some point, there's going to be fatigue, and we're going to see a market turn. Now, that could be a month away. It could be 3 months away. It could be 6 months away, but it will happen. Nothing goes up parabolically forever. There will be a correction, but take my word of advice again, if you take a macro outlook and you say, what is happening, where there's friction and exponential growth, something magical is happening. And if you don't get too scared in that downturn and continue to be in it, I think we're in it for the long haul. And this is a new asset class being born in front of our eyes that is going to be a multi-trillion-dollar asset class. So I'm excited. We're going to be taking you on that journey every single week with new projects, new drops, new initiatives, and people smarter than us building awesome technology that we'll be bringing onto the show. So remember to subscribe and get a chance of winning that Goat Vault. And
The Goat Vault! Come on, say it with a little bit more excitement.
The Goat Vault! Did you like it? Was that better?
Much better. Much better. Yes. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, your family. Look, to me, I think the best part about this is it is fun, right? Like, and I think the first episode we said we want to have some fun. It is a lot of fun. But listen, I got a text message from a buddy, from a really good friend who says, thank you very much for getting me into the space. It has literally changed my life, right? Like for me, that's like, I love that, right? Like when you're doing things that are actually affecting people's lives, they're able to make a living and feed their family. And that makes this real, right? That makes this real. And, obviously be very cautious. Don't invest smart. Don't go, take out credit card dollars and put it into NFTs. Cause I know people done that in sports cards and got burned. But you know what? At the same time, I think those are all life lessons, right? The people that did do that and did get burned, I'm sure they're not going to do that again. And they learned a life lesson there. But I think the space is crazy. We talk about it daily. I wake up to text messages from Yossi and it's like, what? Did you see what CryptoPunks is at? I'm like, don't talk to me about it. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, listen, I'm excited. I can't. I'm just trying to figure out how to sleep more. I guess because every hour that I sleep, I feel like I'm missing something.
No time for sleep. You got to be in it. Got to be in it. No time for sleep, and having fun is, like you say, what we got to be doing. But I don't have any more words for wisdom. I'm going to go and see what's happening on these Discord groups and what everyone's talking about, and potentially ape into my next project. And we'll see you next week and talk about it.
Thanks for hanging with us, guys. We'll see you next week. It's a pleasure, and I can't wait. LeBron James, buy that CryptoPunk. Make me look like I'm smart. See you guys later.